Chosen one, listen carefully. This message you about to hear. This is not coincidence. This is not random. If you are here, something inside you already knows the truth. The urgency you feel. You have felt it in your chest. That pressure you cannot explain. Like time is running out and no one else sees it. That is not anxiety. That is awareness waking up. Why this feels like an emergency. Your soul has been sending signals for years. Dreams that felt more real than real life. Moments of silence that spoke louder than noise. You are late only because you were being prepared. The moment you started to chain. There was a time you no longer fit in. Conversations felt shallow. Crowds felt heavy. That was the beginning, not the problem. What it means to be chosen. Chosen does not mean better. It means burdened with responsibility. It means you feel truth even when it hurts. It means you cannot pretend forever. The awakening they never warned you about. Awakening is not peaceful at first. It breaks illusions you depended on. It separates you from versions of yourself. That pain is the door opening. Signs you could not ignore. You question everything you were taught. You feel guided, yet misunderstood. You sense purpose without a map. These are not accidents, these are signals. Why society tries to silence you. A fully awake mind cannot be controlled. Your questions threaten comfortable lies. Your presence disrupts systems built on fear. So they label you, mock you, distract you. The weight you carry in secret. You carry others' pain without being asked. You feel responsible for more than yourself. Rest feels undeserved. This weight exists because your capacity is greater. Why you felt delayed. You were not late. You were hidden. Strength is built in isolation. Clarity comes after confusion. The test before the call. Everything tried to break you. Loss, rejection, silence. You survived what should have ended you. That was the qualification. What happens if you ignore this? The discomfort will grow louder. Life will feel misaligned. Opportunities will feel empty. Your soul does not negotiate with denial. The shift that starts today. You stop shrinking to be accepted. You stop explaining your depth. You start listening inward. This is where alignment begins. The power in your voice. Your words heal without effort. Your presence changes rooms. You awaken others by being yourself. This is why you were chosen. Why this message found you now. Because distraction almost worked. Because comfort was becoming dangerous. Because time matters. Because you are needed awake. The responsibility ahead. Not to save everyone. Not to be perfect. But to be real. Truth spreads through authenticity. Step into what you already are. You do not need permission. You do not need validation. You do not need proof. You need courage. This is your reminder. You are not imagining this. You are not alone. You are not broken. You are remembering. If this resonated, it is because it was meant for you. Do not scroll past your own awakening. Like this video to affirm your path. Comment to anchor your commitment. Subscribe to return to awakening and walk this journey fully awake. The silence that followed. After the chaos, there was silence. Not empty silence, but observing silence. The kind that watches you think. That silence was training your discernment. Why you felt called to be alone. Isolation was not punishment. It was protection. Too many voices would have drowned your signal. Solitude sharpened your inner hearing. The strange shift in your values. What once excited you felt meaningless. Status lost its shine. Approval felt heavy. Your soul upgraded before your life did. The inner conflict you escape. One part of you wanted comfort. Another demanded truth. That tension was not weakness. It was evolution happening in real time. Why old paths stopped working. Doors closed without explanation. Plans collapsed at the last second. People drifted without conflict. You were being rerouted, not rejected. The fear that rose with awareness. Awareness brings responsibility. And responsibility frightens the unprepared mind. You felt fear because you sensed magnitude. Fear is the shadow of potential. The difference between knowing and RMBRNG. Knowledge is learned. Truth is remembered. Every time something resonated deeply. It was memory waking up. The moments that changed you quietly. A sentence overheard. A book opened at the right page. A look that lingered too long. Guidance often whispers, not shouts. Why you QSTONED reality itself. You notice patterns others ignored. You sensed layers beneath appearances. You felt meaning behind coincidence. This perception is not common. The burden of seeing clearly. Once you see, you cannot unsee. Ignorance no longer feels safe. Truth demands alignment. And alignment demands courage. The test of discernment. Not every voice is guidance. Not every sign is truth. You learn to feel, not rush. This patience is part of your role. Why your heart felt heavy around certain people. Energy does not lie. Your body reacted before your mind understood. Some connections drained, others restored. You learned without being taught. The loss that shaped you. Something important was taken. Not to punish you, but to detach you. Loss cleared space for purpose. The strength you discovered too late. You survived moments you never speak about. You adapted when escape was impossible. You stood when collapse felt easier. That strength is now required. The invisible line you crossed. There was no announcement. No ceremony. Just a knowing that you cannot go back. This is the point of no return. The call that does not repeat. Truth waits patiently, but not forever. You feel urgency because timing matters. Delays have consequences. Awareness demands response. The role you keep avoiding. You downplayed your insight. You hid your depth. You stayed silent to stay safe. That season is ending. The inner authority awakening. You stop asking everyone for answers. You start trusting inner alignment. Guidance feels internal now. This is maturity of the soul. The cost of stepping forward. Not everyone will understand. Some will misunderstand loudly. Comfort will be tested, but integrity will strengthen. The truth about purpose. Purpose is not a job title. It is how you move through life. How you speak. How you choose truth over ease. The energy shift happening now. You feel it even as you listen. A tightening, then clarity. Resistance dissolving slowly. This is activation, not imagination. The question you must face. Will you keep delaying alignment for temporary comfort? Or will you answer what keeps calling? Even when the path feels unfamiliar, the resistance you feel right now. Your mind wants proof. Your ego wants safety. Your soul wants truth. That tension means the message is landing. Why comfort started to feel dangerous. Stagnation disguised itself as peace. Routine numbed your intuition. Settling became tempting. But your soul rejected the bargain. The moment you realized you were different. You noticed you could not unsee patterns. You felt emotions deeper than words. You sensed intentions before actions. Difference became undeniable. The price of awareness. You lost people without explanation. You outgrew spaces quietly. You felt lonely in crowds. Awareness always costs something. Why distractions increased. Noise appeared when clarity approached. Endless scrolling, endless worries. Anything to pull you outward. Distraction is resistance in disguise. The inner voice you tried to ignore. It spoke softly at first. You dismissed it as imagination. But it returned stronger each time. Truth does not vanish when ignored. The repeating CYCLES you couldn't escape. Same lessons, different faces. Same pain, new settings. Patterns continued until acknowledged. Awareness breaks cycles, not time. The shift from seeking to knowing. You stopped chasing answers outside. You started observing within. Silence became informative. Stillness became guidance. Why your energy feels sensitive. Crowds drain you faster now. Falsehood feels physically uncomfortable. Your body reacts to misalignment. Sensitivity is refinement, not weakness. The guilt you carried unnecessarily. You felt responsible for others' emotions. You tried to rescue, to fix. You learned the limits of control. Boundaries became sacred lessons. The invisible pressure to step up. No one demanded it outwardly. Yet you felt called inwardly. Responsibility does not always announce itself. Sometimes it simply arrives. The fear of being seen. Visibility felt risky. Judgment felt inevitable. You learned hiding was safer. But hiding also delayed alignment. The moments of synchronicity. Time aligned unexpectedly. Messages appeared at perfect moments. Answers arrived before questions formed. Reality responded to your awareness. Why you felt out of place everywhere. You were never meant to fit molds. Your role is not replication. It is translation of truth. And translators often stand between worlds. The inner rewrite happening. Old beliefs dissolve quietly. New understanding forms without force. You notice yourself responding differently. This is internal restructuring. The weight of responsibility, RETURNING. You feel watched by something greater. Not judged but observed. As if potential is being measured. This awareness sharpens intention. The moment before commitment. This is where hesitation lives. Where excuses feel reasonable. Where delay pretends to be wisdom. But you know this space too well. The truth about delay. Delay is not neutral. It shapes outcomes silently. Time responds to decision. And indecision is still a choice. The signal growing louder. Your chest tightens slightly. Your focus sharpens. You feel called to pause and listen. That is not accidental. The threshold you are standing on. Behind you is familiarity. Ahead is alignment. One requires less courage. The other demands truth, the quiet test of integrity. No one is watching openly. No applause waits for your decision. Integrity is chosen in private. This is where alignment is proven. Why your old identity feels heavy. Labels no longer fit. Roles feel restrictive. You sense you have outgrown explanations. Growth always sheds skins. The discomfort of truth. Truth does not negotiate. It corrects gently at first. Then firmly. Ignoring it creates inner friction. The shift in how you see people. You notice pain behind anger. Fear behind control. Silence behind loudness. Awareness brings compassion without blindness. Why you stopped CHASING validation. Approval began to feel hollow. Praise lost its power. Criticism lost its sting. Inner alignment replaced external reward. The moment you realize time is real, not as numbers, but as opportunity. Moments either used or missed. This realization changed your urgency. The internal realignment. Your reaction slowed. Your listening deepened. Your responses became intentional. This is wisdom forming quietly. Why you felt pulled toward stillness. Noise stopped feeding you. Silence started teaching you. Reflection became necessary. Stillness is where clarity sharpens. The separation from old DSIRES. What once felt urgent faded. Impulses weakened. Intentions refined. Desire matured into direction. The test of patience. Results did not appear instantly. Doubt attempted to rush you. Waiting became uncomfortable. Patience trained your trust. The moment you stopped running, you faced discomfort directly. You stopped escaping through distraction. You stayed present with unease. This is strength most never develop. Why your conscience grew louder. Small misalignments felt heavier. Excuses no longer satisfied you. Honesty became unavoidable. Conscience sharpens with awareness. The recognition of inner guidance. You began sensing right and wrong clearly. Not through fear, but through alignment. This clarity is a gift with responsibility. The weight of unfulfilled potential. You feel it when resting too long. A quiet dissatisfaction. Not exhaustion but underuse. Potential demands expression. The difference between rest and avoidance. Rest restores. Avoidance delays. You learn the difference painfully. Awareness removes excuses. The moment you felt accountable. Not to people, not to systems, but to truth itself. This accountability changes behavior. The pressure before expansion. Everything feels tighter before growth. Uncertainty increases. Comfort decreases. Expansion always begins this way. The inner discipline, forming. You choose intention over impulse. Consistency over emotion. Purpose over comfort. Discipline aligns power. The recognition of your role. Not everyone carries this awareness. Not everyone is meant to. Roles differ for a reason. Yours requires consciousness. The final test before action. This is where knowing must become doing. Where awareness must move. Where intention seeks expression. This moment has arrived before, the pause before you move. Everything feels suspended. As if life is waiting for your response. Not rushed but attentive. Moments like this shape destinies. Why fear tried one last time. Fear does not disappear quietly. It makes final arguments. It reminds you of past pain. Not to protect you, but to delay you. The difference you now see clearly. You see how people sleepwalk through days. Repeating patterns without questioning. Distracted from purpose. Awareness separates without arrogance. The internal agreement you made. You stopped lying to yourself. You stopped minimizing truth. You admitted what you already knew. That agreement shifted everything. Why your words feel heavier now. Speech carries intention. Intention carries consequence. You choose words more carefully. Awareness adds weight to expression. The end of BLAMING circumstances. Excuses lost their comfort. Victimhood lost its appeal. Responsibility replaced resentment. This is empowerment, not pressure. The strength of consistency. Small aligned actions matter. Daily discipline builds clarity. You stopped waiting for motivation. Consistency became your anchor. The moment you stopped seeking signs, you realized guidance was already present. Not hidden, not distant, just requiring obedience to what you know. Why your PRORTS REARRNGD. Time became valuable. Energy became sacred. Access became selective. You protect what fuels alignment. The inner stillness during chaos. External noise continues, but something inside remains steady. You respond instead of react. This calm is earned. The realization about power. Power is not dominance. It is restraint with clarity, choice with intention, silence when needed. The shift from questioning to trust. Not blind trust. Earn trust through experience. You saw what alignment produces. Doubt lost authority. The detachment from OUTCOMES. You focus on effort, not control. You release obsession with results. You act with sincerity. This detachment frees energy. The respect you developed for process. Growth stopped feeling random. Challenges revealed patterns. Lessons repeated until integrated. Process became teacher. The inner confirmation. No voice spoke loudly. No sign flashed dramatically. Just a deep certainty. Certainty does not shout. The responsibility of awareness. You cannot unknow what you know. You cannot return to sleep. Awareness carries obligation. Truth requires embodiment. The moment action felt inevitable. Not forced. Not dramatic. Simply necessary. Like breathing after holding air. The line between thinking and doing. You stood there before, planning endlessly, waiting for perfect conditions. Now you see the illusion. The quiet courage, FORMING. Courage without noise. Without announcement. Without validation. The strongest kind. The understanding of timing. You realize why it is now. Why not earlier? Why not later? Preparation met opportunity. The feeling of readiness. Not confidence. Not certainty of outcome. But readiness to be honest. Ready to move aligned. The shift from preparation to execution. Preparation taught you awareness. Execution demands courage. Knowing is no longer enough. Movement is now required. Why doubt still whispers? Doubt is not failure. It is habit losing control. It tests commitment, not truth. You move forward despite it. The moment you felt exposed. Not to people, but to yourself. Self-honesty removed all hiding places. This exposure is freedom. The redefinition of strength. Strength is no longer force. It is consistency under pressure. Integrity when unobserved. Calm during uncertainty. Why your old coping, MECHNISMS failed. Escape stopped working. Distractions lost effect. Numbing became impossible. Awareness closed those exits. The internal order forming. Priorities align naturally. Decisions simplify. Confusion dissolves. Clarity emerges from alignment. The acceptance of your path. You stopped comparing timelines. Stopped measuring against others. Your journey stands alone. Comparison faded into irrelevance. The moment you, RELEASCD control. You allowed outcomes to unfold. You focused on right action. Trust replaced manipulation. This release expanded capacity. The end of seeking permission. You no longer wait to be chosen. You recognize the call internally. Authority shifted inward. This changes posture entirely. The weight of your DCSONS. Choices feel heavier now. not burdened. Consequential. Awareness sharpens accountability. The difference between confidence and alignment. Confidence can fluctuate. Alignment remains steady. You operate from alignment now. This stability is unfamiliar but real. Why urgency feels calm. There is no panic. Only clarity. Action without chaos. Urgency matured into precision. The moment you stopped overexplaning, you realize truth needs no defense. Alignment speaks through action. Explanations drained energy. Silence preserved it. The internal boundary set. Not everyone gets access. Not every request gets answered. Discernment guides interaction. Energy is no longer wasted. The respect for your own time. You stop delaying important things. You honor commitments to yourself. Time became intentional. This respect changed momentum. The understanding of sacrifice. Some comforts must be released. Some attachments loosened. Not as loss, as exchange for alignment. The moment responsibility felt natural. No resistance. No complaint. Just acceptance. Responsibility aligned with capacity. The stability forming underneath. External circumstances fluctuate. Internal grounding remains. You are not shaken easily now. This is integration. The difference between noise and signal. You identify distraction instantly. You recognize clarity quickly. Discernment accelerates decisions. Awareness refined perception. The internal commitment deepening. This is no longer curiosity. It is dedication. Not excitement, but resolve. The moment you realize you are ready. Not perfect, not fearless, but willing. And willingness moves worlds, the stillness before impact. There is a calm settling in you. Not passive, focused, like the moment before a decisive step. Why the world feels louder now. Noise intensifies when you stop feeding it. Distractions compete for attention. Urgency exposes irrelevance. You hear clearly by choosing silence. The moment intuition took lead. Logic stepped back. Not abandoned but balanced. You trust what feels aligned. Intuition matured through experience. The release of old fears. Fear of judgment softened. Fear of failure weakened. Fear of being alone dissolved. Alignment reduced their grip. The internal shift in identity. You no longer ask who you are becoming. You act from who you are. Identity stabilized internally. Expression followed naturally. Why simplicity feels powerful. Complexity lost appeal. Clear choices feel lighter. Direct action saves energy. Simplicity sharpens effectiveness. The moment you stopped seeking rescue, you realized no one was coming. Not because you are abandoned, but because you are capable. Self-trust replaced waiting. The change in how you handle pressure. Pressure no longer panics you. It clarifies priorities. It narrows focus. Pressure became a tool. The end of internal negotiation. You stopped bargaining with truth. Stopped delaying difficult choices. Clarity removed debate. Action followed decision. The difference between movement and motion. You noticed busyness without progress. You chose deliberate steps. Movement aligned with purpose. Motion without meaning was released. The strength of silent DCSONS. No announcements were made. No validation requested. Commitment happened inwardly. Those decisions last longest. The shift in your energy field. People respond differently now. Some feel drawn. Some feel uncomfortable. Alignment alters presence. The moment you accepted consequences, you stopped fearing outcomes. You accepted responsibility for direction. Consequences felt manageable. Avoidance lost value. The end of waiting for perfect conditions. You recognize perfection as delay. Readiness replaced preparation. Action became timely. Momentum built quietly. The role of discipline in freedom. Structure supported focus. Boundaries created space. Freedom emerged from order. Discipline stopped feeling restrictive. The recognition of inner authority. You trust your discernment. You act without excessive approval. Guidance feels internalized. Authority settled within. The change in how you view challenges. Challenges stopped feeling personal. They became instructional. Feedback instead of failure. Growth accelerated. The quiet confidence building. No bravado. No comparison. Just steadiness. Confidence rooted in alignment. The moment you stopped doubting timing, you accepted now as sufficient. You stopped postponing truth. Timing aligned with readiness. Acceptance unlocked momentum. The internal harmony forming. Thoughts align with actions. Actions reflect values. Values guide choices. Harmony replaces conflict. The realization of irreversibility. You sense there is no return. Not because of fear, but because of clarity. Awareness does not reverse. The calm acceptance of your role. No resistance remains. No confusion lingers. Just understanding. And readiness to proceed, the moment you realize this is active. This is not motivation. This is activation. Something is being switched on. You are not just listening anymore. Why you cannot unhar this? Truth leaves an imprint. It settles deeper than emotion. It reshapes decisions silently. You move differently after this. The responsibility of being aware. Awareness is not passive. It demands embodiment. Knowing without action creates friction. Action restores alignment. The call to step forward. Not tomorrow. Not someday. But now in small deliberate ways. Alignment begins with movement. The power of deceleration, your choice. Silence was preparation. Declaration is ignition. When you choose consciously, energy organizes around decision. The reason you were led here. Not for entertainment. Not for curiosity. But for confirmation. You were meant to recognize yourself. The invitation you must accept. To stop shrinking. To stop delaying. To stop doubting what you already know. This invitation expires with an action. The moment to anchor this shift. Do not let this fade into thought. Action anchors awareness. Commitment grounds clarity. This is how awakening stabilizes. If this message touched you, it is because you are part of this path. Like this video to affirm your alignment. Comment to declare that you are ready to move consciously. Subscribe to return to awakening and walk this journey awake, aware, and aligned.